First, we eat. Then we do everything else, said M.K. Fisher, a preeminent writer, and rightly so. The pandemic we currently face is proof of it, and I'm here to clarify the importance of food, to show you just how vital the primary food production industry is. In fact, the food industry is the largest sector of the world economy, estimated by the World Bank to comprise of 10% of all economic output. And the primary food production part of it is the pillar that holds up the food industry. Primary food production refers to the growing and harvesting of crops and rearing of animals to provide enough food to meet the global demand. We face numerous challenges in the industry, and I'm going to focus on the three most evident ones. The first being unsustainable agricultural practices. When you think of climate change, what's the most evident contributor that comes to mind? I'm sure agriculture has to be somewhere at the top of that list. As a matter of fact, agriculture accounts for 24% of all global greenhouse gas emissions, according to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. The next problem, food wastage. What have all your parents been telling you since you were a child at the dinner table? Don't waste food because there are people around the world dying of starvation. They're right, but the problem we face is not so simple. Wastage of food begins long before it reaches your dinner table. And in fact, according to Natasha DaCosta, principal advisor at Wellington and Wairarapa, 60% of all food produced does not even make it to the shelves of markets. This leads to more secondary negative externalities, such as starvation and climate change due to greenhouse gas emissions. The next problem I'll be talking about, and the final one, is the lack of skilled labor and technology in the industry. The thing about the food production industry is that no one ever dreams of being a farmer or entering the food industry in any way. This means that there's not enough time, money, research, and labor invested into properly producing the most important commodity for us. Moreover, the misallocation of resources is apparent in the graph on the left, where you can see that we use 77% of agricultural land for livestock, even though meat and dairy accounts for only 18% of the global calorie supply. This causes a domino effect, leading to wastage, inefficiency, and environmental degradation. As a matter of fact, the COVID-19 pandemic has made us highly conscious. As a matter of fact, the COVID-19 pandemic has made us highly conscious of these problems. This statement by Ben Feldman, Executive Director of the Farmers Market Coalition, opens our eyes to problems we've been facing for a long time now. The pandemic has not only made us aware of our problems, but it has magnified these problems, making the need for change undeniable. In fact, experts advise that if certain meat items are scarce, now might be the time to try plant-based substitutes, showing us that the future is now. Now that we're on the topic of the future of the industry, I'd like to take you through the mega trends of tomorrow. First and most evident is the investment and adoption of agritech. Agritech is the use of technology for farming that is developed to improve the efficiency and profitability of the industry. Things like hydroponics, robotics, artificial intelligence, and drones are beginning to enter the industry, and scientists predict that they will revolutionize the industry and play a major part of the future. Moving on to the second megatrend, there's going to be a gradual drop in meat consumption, as you can see on the graph in the graph on the left. According to the Food and Agricultural Organization, the production of meat is necessary in the battle against climate change. Flexitarianism is an eating style that reduces the amount of meat eaten without completely going vegetarian. And it is something that our generation as a whole has begun to adopt. Actually, when you think of Gen Z's diet choice in general, veganism, vegetarianism, and plant-based diets are a major part of our contemporaries. Bringing me to the final trend of the future: sustainability. According to Innova Market Insights, global consumers who expect companies to invest in sustainability increased from 65% in 2018 to 87% in 2019. And about half of all consumers are willing to pay extra for products devoted to solving sustainability issues. Consumers demand transparency. And where there's demand, we require supply. Meaning that we will most likely see food produced sustainably on the rise going forward to meet that demand. Ultimately, this leads us to the question of what we should be doing now. What does our generation want, and where should we focus our efforts? The thing is, there are so many problems we face: adulteration, wastage, lack of healthy food, and so many more. But I believe that all of them can be separated into these two umbrella terms: food security and environmental conservation, or rather the lack thereof. First, food security. Every person on the planet should have access to healthy food. Everybody needs food to survive, so everybody by right should get food. In fact, it's ironic that nowadays we see so many technological developments in other industries. For example, we have Elon Musk sending people to space before we've even used our resources to secure the food industry on Earth itself. So what's the use of having all of this technology if we can't get food on people's dinner tables? However, the other challenge is achieving this goal while ensuring environmental sustainability. Considering agriculture is one of the largest contributors to climate change, we need to learn to achieve our goals while focusing on impacting the environment as little as possible. What should governments be doing? What should countries be doing? In fact, what should you and I be doing every day? Firstly, it's evident that the rearing of livestock is a large contributor to several problems. So flexitarianism and movement to meat substitutes would be good habits to begin to adopt right now as consumers. Secondly, we need to make food production exciting. If you select anybody from the youth today and ask them if they'd enter the primary food production industry, they'd probably laugh at you or stare at you with a blank face. So I really think that we need to make agriculture and food more attractive to my generation. We need to educate us. Finally, we need to aggressively push for governments and companies to invest time, money, and research in order to develop the industry so that 815 million people don't need to starve every year. Thank you.